Okay, this video is for a headlamp replacement low beam on a 2014 Subaru Outback. Now, what I've done is I did jack the car up using the jack. I took off this wheel. I pulled back this, whatever you want to call it, wheel well cover. I took off more than I need to. I took off 4 of these big clips and 3 of the small clips. The big clip here and 2 more down there. I took off a small clip here. I took off a big clip right through that hole that I used to tie this off just to keep it back. I took off another one here, and there's one there. Now, some of these didn't have to come off at all, okay? I wasn't sure. Some videos, they just say take off 4, but some of them do it without taking off the wheel. Anyway, just because I could take them off, I did. You don't want to take them off willy-nilly because you will damage some. I did break one, okay? And if I had been more careful, it might have been okay. Got it off. But they don't last forever. But still, you just want to take them off as carefully as you can. Now, I used just a screwdriver. I used a little bit of a pry action. You need to pry up the middle piece until it pops out about that distance. Once you've got that, then you don't pull that out all the way. Then you pry up on the whole thing to get it out, because these prongs are no longer forced. They're not splayed out anymore. So the idea is to pop the middle out, then go under it with some type of a forking action, or even just a screwdriver. And then once you can actually grip that, you can actually pull on it quite a bit. Okay, fine. Now, this procedure is going to be to remove this dome. That's the dome on the back of the low beam. And the idea is, before pulling it off, is to note its orientation. It's got this distinctive characteristic feature that points straight down, and you want to make a note of that, because to open it, you're going to rotate it in the normal direction, but only, I think, about 25 degrees. In other words, just a small amount to unlock it, and then you'll get it out. I'll show you that when I do it. And then you want to remember that, because when you put it back in, that's when you want to reverse it, and you're going to be doing this without being able to see exactly what you're doing. So that's the important part. And the good thing about the driver's side here is that it's right hand. Okay, right-handed operation, which for a right-handed person is nice. I've already done the one on the left side, but now that was more of a left-handed operation. Let me get that little dome cover off. Okay, I just rotated it just a small amount, but you can tell that that's not vertical anymore. And I think that's the amount where it will now pop off. Strangely enough, I rotated it, trying my right hand and my left hand, but it was actually my left hand that I was able to do it. And don't ask me why. I'm right-handed, but it did turn a certain amount, and then it stopped turning. So I decided it was time to pop it off. And when I go to put it back on, I want to put it in that same spot before flipping it. Okay. Okay, so that's important. And the next thing, I'm going to release that little spring on that. Okay. Actually, no. I'm going to release the electrical connector next. Then I'll pop the spring. Then I'll take the bulb out. Okay, one step at a time. Either hand, of course, whichever one works most easily for you. Okay, you can see I did pull off the connector. I used my right hand, but whichever one works. It's just hanging down in that position. Okay, now I'm going to, there's a little spring clip, okay, and this is where, when you undo it, you want to learn, because when you put it back on, you're going to need to know how it goes on. I think the idea is you're going to push in and then lift it up, and then swing it around over to the right, okay? Okay, I swung the gate over to the right. That is the retaining clip, but when I pushed it in, it's actually that the retaining piece of metal, you actually push it in and then swing it down. I had said up earlier, but of course I was just guessing. Now it looks like it's going to be ready to pull this bulb out. There's nothing holding it in, so I should be able to just take it out. Okay. Now this one is burnt out, and I'm not going to wear gloves for this because it's already burnt. Okay, but I'm going to put gloves on to put the next one in. Okay, and here's where when you take it out, you want to make note of the orientation, because it's going to make it that much easier to get the next one in. Okay, which I'll want to do in the same orientation. Okay, here's the pack of the replacement. It's an H7, and this is the one I'm going to put in on the driver's side. That one is the old one from the passenger side. Okay, so I got to make sure I put in the good one, and I'm going to put these rubber gloves on as I place it in so I don't get my fingers on the glass part. Okay, I just placed the new bulb in position, and you can see the tabs are at an angle, but you can see that there is the keyed part of it is fitting into a slot. Okay, and as I was trying to configure it there, this was the only way that it would actually sink into that receptacle there, and I hadn't remembered that the connectors being at an little angle. I more or less thought they were horizontal, but this, I'm convinced, is the only way that it's in properly. Okay, so I think that's correct. So I'm going to try putting the bail, or what you might call the bail, this wire retaining thing. I'm going to hit pause just so I can use my right hand on that. Okay, I did get the retaining wire seated in that little rim above it, and then pushed it down underneath, pulling it down and then in and under the little clip. Okay, and that looks like it's in, so I'm just going to go for the electrical receptor, which it looks like it is going to be at an angle. Okay, that electrical connector went on, no problem. And I see that it is at an angle, and that looks, I guess, normal. I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to put the this domed cover on, starting it about like this, and then rotating it to vertical. Okay, I pushed it into position with my right hand. Now I'm going to reach in and try. You have to seat it because it's got a rubber over-in gasket. I'm going to seat it in and rotate it to vertical to lock. Okay, I did get it rotated. Now this was a little bit difficult because when I first went to rotate it, it went past vertical, and it must not have been seated into the notch because it just went too far. So I had to try reconfigure it again, and then try pushing it in, because there is a gasket, over-in gasket. You have to really push in hard, and you have to feel the rim around all the way, not all the way around, but around in multiple locations to see that it's not sticking out, that it is seated, before you then can rotate it. And then once it's in, it will rotate okay. Now this should be ready to go. I should just give this a quick test if I can. It is good. I probably should have done that even before putting that little dome on, just to make sure, but since the dome was difficult. But now it looks good to go. Okay, I pulled this fender oil liner back into position. Now I'm just going to pop the clips back into the spaces that I took them out of. Short ones are on the inside, long ones are on the outside. Okay, down to the last one of these clips. Now with these clips, I want to put the clip in, but do not push on the center until after the clip is seated, okay, because that's going to splay them too early. Okay, so take your time on the clips. All the clips are in. I'm not going to bother you with putting the wheel back on, okay? This job is done. It's buttoned up. I did break one clip, but it went back in okay. Everything seems fine. Okay? Thanks.